I first noticed the shift in her voice when I tried calling her one Tuesday evening. The ring went unanswered, then went straight to voicemail. I left a careful message, soft, cautious, not wanting to alarm her. "Hey, just checking in. Call me when you can." 2 hours later I got a text. A text that made my chest tighten as if someone had slammed a door over my heart. "Please only reach out between 7 to 8 p.m. weekdays. Otherwise, I'm busy." The words were polite, almost clinical, but there was an undercurrent of something I couldn't place. A distance I hadn't felt before. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the keyboard, unsure if I should reply or retreat. I typed, "Okay, I understand." Felt neutral calm. A brick wall of calm because inside my mind was a storm. Why this sudden rigidity? Was I imagining it, or had she really started building walls around herself, around us? We had been married for 7 years. Not perfect but strong, I thought. We laughed too much, bickered sometimes over trivial things, and yet I had never doubted her. Never truly doubted her. Until that evening. By the 3rd week of her rules, I noticed little cracks forming everywhere. Small lies about her whereabouts. Glances that darted away too quickly when I entered the room. Phone calls she stepped outside to take, voice lower than normal. I tried to keep calm. I reminded myself that suspicion could become obsession if left unchecked. I told myself, don't jump. Observe. Gather facts. And yet, every rule she set felt like a lock clicking into place. No calls outside the 1-hour window. No casual texts during the day. Even our emails had to be brief, businesslike. One Saturday I came home early from work. She was running errands, she said. But something told me she wasn't. Something told me I needed to see for myself. I parked 2 blocks away and walked slowly toward the cafe she claimed she was at. The air smelled faintly of rain. The world was quiet except for the occasional car sliding over wet asphalt. When I turned the corner I froze. Through the window, she was sitting with a man I didn't know. Not just talking, laughing. A closeness in the way her hand brushed his, the way her eyes lingered on him that she never lingered on me. I backed away, my mind fraying. Betrayal tastes metallic, and suddenly I could feel it on my tongue. I didn't call her. I didn't confront her. I drove home in silence, every red light mocking me. That evening she walked in. The air carrying her usual perfume that now smelled strange to me, foreign. I watched her, calm, almost serene, and I knew I had to respond. Not with panic, not with anger, but with something she hadn't expected, serenity. "Hey," I said, my voice soft, measured. She looked up, startled, as if sensing the storm I had been holding back for 3 weeks. How was work?" "Busy. Same as always," I said, then paused. "I think we need to talk about your rules." Her eyes narrowed, almost a challenge. "Rules?" "The text messages, the phone calls. The schedule. Feels controlled. And I don't understand why." She shrugged lightly. "I just need boundaries. That's all. It doesn't mean anything beyond that." I nodded slowly, letting her words hang in the air. I didn't accuse, didn't explode. I simply said, boundaries are one thing. Secrets are another. And I need to understand the difference. She didn't answer, which was the answer I already feared. The next few days were a strange dance. I followed her subtle patterns, trying to observe without confronting. And yet, the calm I projected, the quiet steadiness, started to shift something. She grew cautious, yes, but also reflective. One evening I decided to test the waters. I sent her a simple message, outside the allowed hour. "I love you. Thinking of you." It was harmless but deliberate. I needed to see her reaction. 30 minutes later, her reply came. No. Thank you. No anger. No scolding. Just an acknowledgement. It struck me then. My calm, my refusal to lash out, was creating cracks in her fortress. She was expecting me to panic, to plead, to demand explanations. And instead I was steady, quiet, observing, waiting. It was on a rainy Thursday that the truth fully revealed itself. I had returned home earlier than usual, and for the first time in weeks, she was actually home. Her eyes widened when she saw me, a flicker of something like guilt or fear crossing her face. "Are you okay?" I asked. My tone was soft, patient. Yes, I'm fine." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I nodded, and instead of pressing, I went about making tea. The quiet was heavy, pregnant with unspoken words. Finally she spoke. I need to tell you something." Her voice trembled, tiny cracks forming in her composure. I set the teacups down. "Go on." She sat down, hands twisting together. It's not just the boundaries. I've been seeing someone." I blinked. My body froze for a heartbeat, then exhaled slowly. I didn't shout. I didn't move. I simply said, "I see." Her eyes filled with tears, and suddenly she looked small, fragile in a way I had never seen. "I never meant to hurt you. I felt lost, ignored, and I made a terrible mistake." I nodded again, my calm not out of numbness but control. "I understand why you felt lost. But it's also why I need to know. Do you want to fight for this? Or not?" She shook her head, tears falling freely now. "I want to fix it. I want us. But I don't know how to undo this." I reached out, taking her hand. "You can't undo it. But we can decide what comes next. Honestly, I can't pretend nothing happened. But we can also decide whether this betrayal defines us, or whether we define our response to it." Her breath hitched. How can you be so calm?" "I have to be," I said softly. "Because if I explode, if I punish, if I try to control, then nothing changes. Calm gives us space to see clearly. Calm lets us rebuild, if we want to." The weeks that followed were a careful negotiation of trust. She kept her phone out in the open, shared her plans, and I listened without judgment. I let my calm presence be the anchor she had longed for without realizing it. We went to counseling. We sat in quiet evenings, just talking. For the first time in years, our conversations weren't rushed, weren't distracted by screens or obligations. They were slow, deliberate, like discovering each other for the first time again. I won't lie. There were days when doubt clawed at my heart. Nights when memories of the cafe, the hand on his arm, made my stomach churn. But I never let anger dictate my response. I let empathy guide it, guided by the belief that people, complex, flawed, sometimes reckless, can choose to be better. It was during one of these evenings that she finally said it, quietly, almost shyly. "I never realized how much your calm mattered. I thought you'd explode or leave. But you just listened, waited, and trusted me to choose." I smiled, squeezing her hand. "I trusted the person I married. And I trust that we can choose differently from our past mistakes." She leaned into me, head on my shoulder, and I felt the weight of months of tension lift. The calm response hadn't erased betrayal, but it had quietly shifted our entire future. Not by erasing pain, but by letting us face it together, without shattering the fragile remnants of love left between us. Months later, when friends asked about us, I didn't pretend the betrayal hadn't happened. I didn't share every intimate detail. I simply said, "We made it through." Not because it was easy, but because we chose to stay, to face it together. And I realized then that love, true love, isn't about perfection. It's about steadiness. It's about meeting brokenness with calm, about allowing honesty and patience to carve a path through the wreckage. She still apologizes sometimes, and I still feel the sting of those old days. But in the quiet moments when the rain taps against the windows and the world feels far away, we hold each other and know that calm, not fury, saved us. Because calm doesn't ignore betrayal. It acknowledges it, faces it, and slowly, quietly, rebuilds a future that neither of us could have imagined.